What's up, besties? Join us where the tea is hot and the laughs are even hotter. I'm Brittany.
I'm Sean, and we're your favorite duo, ready to spill, dish, and serve all the laughs.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so we have a few words from the complaint department. As always, we're going to answer those complaints and questions first that you all sent to us via email and or social media. And then we're going to get into the main course of today's segment, which is awkward first dates and cringeworthy dating stories. And boy, listeners, we got some stories for you today.
We definitely do. Do you want to start us off with some of your pet peeves, or do you want to do...
Yeah, so one pet peeve, I think, for me this week, or a grievance that I have, is drivers, okay? I'm going to go right out there and say it. I am probably most likely, with people listening to this, a masshole through and through. I cannot stand these drivers down here. As many of you probably know, or if you don't know, I lived in Massachusetts. I recently moved down here to the DMV, right outside of DC. And y'all, no one, and I am telling you, nobody knows how to drive down here. It is like, you are either going too slow, you're not putting your blinker on. People are like, oh, okay. And you know what the biggest one is? Okay, here it is. When people literally try to move into the lane without putting anything on and they just give you the wave. Like, hey, thanks for letting me in. No, bitch. I didn't let you in. I did not give you any sort of permission to move in front of me. And then to top it off, they're going slow as freaking molasses. I literally can't stand it. That is the absolute worst freaking pet peeve of mine, is these horrible drivers. I can't.
That's so funny. I saw something one time that was like, you're either, at different points, you're either the slow driver and you're like, well, I'm just going to go slower now because you're riding my butt.
Yeah.
Or you're like, okay, I'm going to pass you the second I can and you're riding their butt. So it's like, you're one or the other, like always.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no happy medium.
Yes, not at all. And now, I don't know, this never happened to me up in New England, and maybe I didn't pay attention to it, but I don't believe it's ever happened to me. Here, people will flash you if they, like, are trying to get around you or they want you to move over.
Oh.
And I'm like, no! Like, and I'm sorry, if you flash me because I'm going too slow or you want me to move over, guess what? It has just turned into Gran Turismo. I am going like 0 to 60 in 5 seconds in my Subaru Outback with the freaking turbo engine. I'm going to make sure I am smoothing past you, you Audi freaking A4, whatever you are. I'm over it. I can't do it. I'm over it.
Wait, where did you go to A&O or did you go to Drivers Unlimited for drivers?
I went to Drivers Unlimited.
Okay, same. I don't know if they told you this, and I don't know, like, if I just, like, made this up, but I swear they told us that if you flashed your lights at someone, if, like, someone flashed you and you flashed them back or something with, like, lights flashing, you know how, like, you warn people, like, oh, there's a deer on the road or someone's walking, on the sharp corner, or, your high beams are on, asshole. That's like their gang initiation, and like if you flash them, they'll like come back and kill you.
They did say that. Yo, shout out to Drivers Unlimited if that's a real thing.
I just remember that, and I think I told Jeff that once, and I was like, "Don't flash them," and he's like, "Brittany, we're fine." I'm like, "But..."
You're like, they could be a member of the gang. They could get us.
Yes. I'm like peering over my shoulder. They turned around.
Drivers Unlimited, TBT.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, what's your pet peeve, Britt? Lay it on me. What's your grievance this week?
Okay, it's not really, well, it turns into one. So my whole thing is like, why do I have to like pee the second I get into Target or Home Goods or TJ Maxx or Marshalls? Like, I swear, does that happen to you, or is that just
it does not happen to me, but it happens to someone I know.
But I feel like it happens to a lot of people, and I'm almost convinced that's why they put the bathrooms right at the front of Target. And so, piggybacking on that, I hate stall doors that open in. Listen, It's already the size of a freaking shoebox. Now you want me to straddle the toilet to get out and do
Squeeze my ass in that little door.
right. I'm already doing like a yoga thing to close the door. Now that I'm like all set to go, now I have to like go back over the toilet and like my calf is like rubbing against the toilet bowl where like pee drips down from other people. I'm like, ugh. Okay. Yeah. So that is mine for the week.
Okay, in addition to that, can we talk about bathroom locations, period? Okay? There are so many times when I used to go to Stop and Shop, for example, as a kid, RIP Stop and Shop, not many of those left. They're still hanging on. But the bathroom, even in well, not so much Market Basket anymore, but even when I was a kid, I would go in and you always had to go behind the deli. That was where the
Yes.
bathroom was.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so you had to
yes.
walk all the way to the back. Now they're everywhere. Why can't we just have every store have the bathroom in the same freaking spot?
I
It's
know.
in the door to the left, or like Target is literally, it's usually right when you go in, right to the right or right to the left, like near the customer service desk.
Yes.
Why can't we do that? Whereas I'll go to random stores down here, like Home Goods or TJ Maxx, and it's in the back, or it's some of them are by the fitting rooms, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this doesn't make any sense. Why are we not having the bathroom in the same spot? Come on.
Literally the worst.
I can't.
It's nothing like, oh, it'll be at the back wall, and then you like scale the whole back wall, and then it's like at the front right hand corner. You're like, okay, cool. I almost just peed my pants.
Yeah, for real.
I just hate public bathrooms, to be quite frank.
Oh my goodness.
So a few submissions had come in with their pet peeves, so let's go ahead and share some of those.
Yeah, okay, so this first submission came in from one of our listeners / viewers, and I'm curious what your thoughts are about this, Brittany. So when you go out to dinner and someone or the other couple orders the most expensive thing on the bill and then expects to split the bill in half, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I would say, honestly, if I was Oprah, I would be like, you get a dinner, I'll pay for all of the dinners.
Dead.
It's just not like that. So like, and the thing is, I had that stomach surgery, so I can barely eat anything. So I'm over here eating like an appetizer and like maybe I'll get one drink. Or Jeffrey and I split a meal because I'll have like 5 bites and then he'll like house the rest. Or we'll get like.
And then Jeff's over here, look under your chair, you get dinner.
So it's like, it's tough for me because typically I don't eat much. So, and it's like, I don't have all the money in the world to be like, yeah, no, I'll pay for your 5 drinks, your steak dinner and surf and turf. Like, it's just silly. And I personally wouldn't expect anyone, like, also if like I want to order 5 appetizers, like, yeah, I'm going to eat it all. Like, don't judge me. Like, I'll bring it home. But I don't want you paying for that. Like, I'm not going to ever be like, yeah, we're splitting. But I mean, if the bill is like, somewhat close, like, sure, yeah, what's $5? But when it becomes like 40 to $50, it's like, yeah, it's a no for me, dog. What about you?
I get that. I mean, I am torn with this one because I think it depends on the occasion for sure, I think, because obviously if you're going out to a nicer place and you're trying to treat somebody, or
Well,
you
yeah.
kind of have an expectation that it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I think there should be some sort of conversation up front about, what is your expectation? Like, are we splitting the bill? Are we, do you want to cut it 4 ways? Do you want to cut it in half? I'm very much a cut it in half kind of person. I don't really know or care who orders what or like how much it is, because I usually am like, okay, whatever, we'll just split it in half.
You make the big bills. You make the big bills.
Right. No, but I get it though, in terms of like, I've had people say to me before, well, I don't drink and you all are ordering 5 drinks and now I have to pay for that. So I think there are circumstances where it's better off doing it. Or a lot of times, what I find myself doing lately, especially in the last couple of months with people coming to visit and things like that, one of us will just pay for the whole bill, and then we'll take the receipt and then go back, pay for what we bought, and then or Venmo them what we bought plus whatever our percentage of the tip is, and we'll just pay them that way. Sometimes I feel like that's easier, but that is totally, I can see how that's a pet peeve for people of, you're ordering the most expensive thing and now you're expecting me to pay for half of your meal or expecting me to pay for the meal in general.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I'm like a frugal fanny, and like like there's so many things that go into it, right? And then there's someone that always like claims they're this mathematician, and then the bill never comes out, and then they're like, wait, I forgot to do the tip, and everyone's like nickeling and diming. Like, I'm not nickeling and diming. Like, 32.65 is what I owe, and that's exactly what I'm giving you. Like,
Right.
I'll give you $40 and whatever. Like, I don't care, like, if it's, whatever. But
Exactly.
it's just, I don't know. And like sometimes if like, it's a girls' weekend or whatever, like, and we're eating out every freaking meal, by the end of it, I'm like, listen, I'm just getting like a little Caesar salad and water. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking hungover. And then, everyone else is still like, let's get it. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to pay that.
With the scene from Devil Wears Prada when she's like, well, I'm on this new diet. And they're like, oh my gosh, you look great. What is your diet? And you say, well, I don't eat anything. And when I feel like I'm about to pass out, I just eat a cube of cheese.
Honestly, cheese would be the first choice.
Sometimes that's what we have to do. Listen, we're out here, we are surviving, sometimes not thriving.
Very true, very true. But when I can cover the bill, I 100% will. I will.
Yeah. But a lot of the times you have to think about it, right? You have to tell yourself, okay, I'm planning on, these people are visiting, I'm planning on paying for them, I'm gonna save X amount or whatever it is. But yeah, not everybody is more people are balling on a budget, depending on what we have.
Front and center.
For real. So appreciate the pet peeve, listener. Totally, get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Good to have all these different perspectives.
Yes. And so that was a good one, definitely. And the other one we got was so that's funny because I'm actually reading this off my card right now. When people read speeches off their phone at weddings and it's a formal event, should they write it down or print it out? What do you think about that? Or should they read it off their phone?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so torn with this one. I'm so torn. I think just with the age of technology and the way things are, I think it's easier for people to put it on their phone. However, I do agree with there is some sort of formality. What?
I sneezed and I said, bless me.
Bless you.
I am so exhausted, dude. From the weekend, I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. Continue. Yes, perfect. Today's technology.
She's on extra fumes. So, yeah, I feel like there is a formality there where people should be, putting it on a piece of paper. But I also think it's fine. But there's a caveat to that. If you are a strong reader and you can read on a small screen, do it. Okay? But I'm not the type of person who, I'm not here for somebody reading and then they look up or they try to like overdo it and then they lose their place and then they're trying to scroll and find their place on their phone. That to me is, if you can't do that, if you're not capable of keeping up or monitoring where you are on your phone, then just don't read off your phone. Send it to your email, print it off, have a piece of paper the day of, do whatever it is that you need to do. But yeah, I agree. I think depending on the situation, yes, but I have to agree with this listener. I think something for like a wedding, yeah, maybe just print it out. It might be a little better if you print it out.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just got a wicked case of the gigglies, dude. I'm so tired.
I'm glad I just went with it while you were laughing in the back.
I know. I'm like, and I was looking at you and you're so straight faced, and I'm like, get it together.
You're like, geez, why is he gotta be so serious all the time? Stop being so serious.
Oh my god.
What
Ooh.
do you think about that, Britt? What are your thoughts about, as you're in the planning stages, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, of weddings?
No, just speeches, reading a speech. Like, would you rather have your maid of honor read it off of a sheet of paper, or are you okay with a phone?
I mean, I'm not like, oh my god, her crusty ass phone's in the shot. Like, I don't care about that. Like, so my whole thing is like, what's practical? So I would personally, if I were to give a speech, I think at Mercedes, I read it off paper just because, like, your phone could die, your phone could break, all of these
100%.
things.
I didn't even think of
What
that.
is behind you right now?
I don't know.
Turn around. Is that an animal?
Oh, yeah, that's my cat.
Oh, I'm like, is Kevin on all fours? Like sneaking off screen? Sorry.
He's in position. He's ready.
I'm dead. Just like crawling along.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, sorry. Giggles. No, so I mean, and also, so I personally would print it out, would write it out, probably put it on paper. Because like folded paper is weird too. I don't know if I did that for Mercedes, but I apologize if I did. But also, so yeah, I mean, your phone could break, your phone could die, all of these things, right? But also notifications popping up, the screen locks, you're not reading it fast enough, you're not moving.
So true.
But also Jeff's friend, like when like his buddies at work, when they're reading things off their phone for like a meeting or a sports award, a banquet, whatever, if it's on their phone, or even if it's not, they'll call each other to like throw each other off. So like if you're reading off your phone and like grandma's calling, like, grandma, stop, and like it's an emergency, she just keeps calling back and you're trying to deliver this speech, like,
What a prank.
Yeah, no, they're such pranksters.
Bad, but also lit at the same time.
No, they're such pranksters.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, you also can't have your email open with one of his friends because he's like left his email like open, Jeff has, in his room, and his friend will send emails from Jeff to like all these important people and like say like
Oh god.
It's all in like good fun and like it always turns out fine, but it's like actually really funny.
That's hilarious.
But yes, I vote for printing it out 100%.
Okay,
So many things.
there you go.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
Yes.
All right, so for one of our listeners, another question came in rather from one of our listeners, Allie. She wants to know, what are your thoughts on people posting "I did a thing" on social media and they're referring to like a haircut or something simple? Like what do we think about that? What are our thoughts?
I mean, if some people, that might be like as big as like buying a house, or even though that sounds silly, like maybe they didn't get a haircut in like a couple years. I don't know. I feel like that goes back to like my whole thing about like online, like post what you want. If you don't like it, don't look. Like if people post cheesy captions, what can we do? I mean, not everyone's as good as us, am I right? I mean,
I agree with you there, Britt. I agree with you there. Yeah, I think it's all about what you're posting and what you're like. I did a thing and it's someone getting a haircut. I would be like, girl, okay, bye. Like, what is that? But like, I've seen people do it like, I did a thing and they bought a car, or honestly, actually the opposite of that. I don't hate, but sometimes I don't like when people say, we did a little thing this weekend, and it's just like pictures of keys. And I'm like, okay, did you buy a house? Did you buy a car? Did you get an apartment?
No, they made copies of their keys, Sean.
Exactly. Like, what did you do? Oh, you did a thing? What thing was that you did, ma'am? Okay.
You got a storage unit. Calm down, Susan.
Right, ma'am or sir, you got a storage unit and you're putting an icebox in there for God knows what reason? What do we know? Come on, give us some
Exactly.
more context. So I do, that is like a little bit of a pet peeve of mine when people do that. It's very, very frustrating when it's almost like I did something, but I'm leaving a little bit of mystery. It's like, no, I don't want to hear about the mystery. I don't, just tell us what it is. You did a thing. What was it?
Yeah.
Did you buy a house, car, storage unit, whatever it is? Great.
Sharing is caring. If you're going to tell the truth, tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help
Yes.
you God.
And maybe I feel that way because I don't post a whole lot about stuff like that. Like in the last few years, I've started being a little bit more private about stuff like that I
So
share. But
mysterious.
it's, I totally, I get it. Like sometimes it annoys me. Sometimes I'll say, "Oh, good for them," but yeah, something as little as a haircut, I'm like, "Okay, girl, what are we doing here? What are we doing?"
Right. I'm actually on the other end of that where I post a lot of things and people are like, oh, she wouldn't post it unless she did it, da da da. And I'm like, there's actually so much I don't share. So it's funny that you think that, but it's all in what you create in your own mind after you're
Right.
seeing what I'm posting.
In the great words of Hannah Montana, life's what you make it, so let's make it right.
Amen. Amen.
Amen, sister. All right, besties. Well, let's talk about today's hot topic that has all the hot goss streaming. Awkward first dates and cringeworthy dating stories, where we dive headfirst into the hilarious, uncomfortable moments that often accompany the search for love. Whether it's a case of mistaken identity, an unexpected wardrobe malfunction, or a conversation that spirals out of absolute control, we've all had those dates that make us cringe and laugh in hindsight.
True that. Today, we'll share some of the most outrageous tales from our lives, exploring the lessons learned and the humor found in the chaos of dating. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for a roller coaster ride through the ups and downs of romance gone wrong.
Ugh, piping hot, piping hot. I love it. Hot off the press.
You
All right.
hit it first, Sean.
You want me to go first?
Oh, yes, I do. Because you started to tell me, and I don't think I know these. So, yes. Spill
Okay,
the
perfect.
tea.
Perfect. So the first story I have, we'll see if we get to the other one, but the first story I have, I was dating. He was my first boyfriend. I was not out to anybody. I was 100% in the closet, played it off like it was a friend, met him. It was this guy in Worcester. And, you know, we had been going out for, I don't know, maybe 4 months, 5 months. And it was just eating me alive inside. He did not treat me very well at all. There's a backstory to why I'm sharing this. He just whatever was not the right person for me at that time, I will say. So we ended up I had a license, he did not, so I was constantly driving to Worcester. Worcester from Central Mass is probably about 35-40 minutes, but
Yeah.
he lived on the other side of Worcester, so it was a pretty like decent 45-50 minutes. So every weekend or anytime we wanted to see each other, I was always the one to either go there or pick him up and bring him back to my house. He also wasn't out, so we spent a lot of time at my house. The debacle of being gay and being in the closet. So anyway, we broke up, and I, shortly after, you know, maybe a few weeks, 3 weeks go by, I started just chatting with this other person. Weirdly, oddly enough, from Worcester, yet again. And I was messaging this person back and forth, and we ended up talking a lot longer and a lot more than I had expected, and we planned to meet up. And in gay world, this is your first date, okay? You're meeting up, you're going somewhere. It could even just be a drive in your car, and that's considered a first date, especially when you're in the closet and nobody knows. So I came up with some rambling bullcrap excuse to my parents and my brother, because at the time my brother and I were sharing a car. So I had to come up with some good reason or excuse that I needed the car. Drove all the way to Worcester. But before I went, I stopped at my friend's house, Meg, at the time. Well, no, she's still Meg. I don't know why I said at the time. But at that
He's
time,
passed away.
after I had my first breakup, I had ended up coming out to her and a couple of my other friends, Brittany included in that group of friends.
Obvi.
And I ended up stopping there on my way, explained the whole situation to her about like it was cool, but it was just kind of giving weird vibes. Like the guy seemed normal, seemed whatever, but portrayed himself to be a little older, so I was a little nervous and just kind of scared, whatever. So she decides, no, you're not going alone. I'm going with you. Like, I'm gonna drive you to Worcester. We're gonna figure it out. So I'm like, okay. So of course we're on our way. On our way there, we stop. We get another friend, Helen, at the time.
Oh, dead.
And me, Helen, and Meg all drive to Worcester, and this person all of a sudden just stops answering me. So I'm like, okay, well, I just made everybody drive all the way out here, and now you're not, you're whatever, you're not available all of a sudden. So I'm calling him. He's not answering. Finally, he texts me, gives me the address. So I'm like, okay, is it a house? Like, where are we meeting? And they just said, you can pick me up here. So I say, okay. So we drive. At this point, it's February, okay? It's the middle of winter. It's completely pitch black by like 3 p.m. And we're driving around in the dark. We go to the address. There's nobody there. And of course, I'm not out. I'm 17 years old at the time, I think, 16 years old. I'm literally looking around. No one's there. So I'm not going to go up to the door. I'm not going to knock because I don't want to out this person. And I also don't know this person. I've never met them in person. So we turn around, drive back out, and Meg looks at me and she says, let's just do like one more drive-by. Let's check one more time because you never know, whatever. So I say, okay. So, and at this point, I have already texted this person saying like, hey, I'm outside. Where are you? I don't see you. Like, we stayed there for like a good, 20, 30 minutes.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like just driving back and forth. So we turn around, we go back, and there's someone sitting outside. So I roll down the window, and I don't even know at this rate. I think his name was like Dylan or something. So I literally just yell, Dylan. And the person just looks up and says, what? And I say, okay, that is definitely not him. So we all start bursting out laughing. We roll up our windows. We drive. And mind you, where this person put their address, it was a dead end. So we had to drive by, turn around, and then drive back past the house. So, okay. Oh, it's even better. So we're driving back. I don't even make it like driving away from the house 5 minutes. My ex-boyfriend texts me and says, are you in Worcester right now? And I texted back and I said, no. And he said, weird, because someone just pulled up to my friend's house and yelled this person's name, and it sounded like you. And I just gagged, like full on. My heart was in my butt, like could not breathe, was so, because I'm like, what are the odds? And then I started putting pieces together of, okay, well, that person did kind of sound like him, but what are the odds that it's him?
Right.
Turns out the person that was messaging me was his best friend that he had create a fake profile.
That's terrible.
To reach out to me and catfish me. So I was straight up catfished.
Oh no.
At 16, the second potential relationship or like greeting or date I ever tried to have with someone was with my ex-boyfriend. catfishing me. It was absolutely horrible. And he admitted to it, did not even apologize, just said, yeah, I wanted to see how quickly you were able to move on. And clearly, you know, this hasn't affected you. And I'm literally like, okay, buddy, this barely affected you. You barely even talked to me. So now all of a sudden he was just looking for that type of interaction, you know? But
Yeah.
I absolutely died, especially when he got mad at me and then admitted to basically catfishing me.
Well,
So
at least you had your friends with you.
I thank God,
Oh
thank
my
God. If
gosh.
I was by myself, I honestly probably would have just like curled up in a ball and died. Like, especially just going to a random house yelling someone's name. That was so out of character for me, but I was so determined to figure out if this was a real person because, again, I was starting to get really weird vibes about, you know, why is this person all of a sudden not messaging me back? Like, are they getting cold feet because I, whatever, all of a sudden decided to go out there
Yeah.
and see them? But yeah, that was straight up one of the craziest cringeworthy dates I have ever been on. It wasn't even a date because we didn't even
Right.
make it far,
Damn,
but
Dylan.
yeah, literally straight up catfished.
Ah, good gravy. That's terrible.
Bad, bad.
Awful. Awful. Glad that's behind you.
Yo, same.
Sorry, before I told my story, it is freezing in my basement. I had to grab a sweatshirt. So my little cringe story goes a little
Yes.
something like this. So let me paint the scene. I'm 16, probably like, yeah, because my friend's mom, I'm going to try to not say names. My friend's mom had just dropped us off at the movies. I was with my friend. We'll call her Janice. I don't know. Trying to go with friends. I don't know. Rachel.
Janice.
No, we'll go with Janice. So Janice, her mom dropped us off to meet Janice's boyfriend and his friend, and of course, so it's like a cute little like blind date, right? So I'm seeing this guy for the first time, and he like turns around, and I'm like, oh, okay, and so he has a bit of a receding hairline, which I'm like, okay, like whatever. I'm here for the personality. Like, who am I to be like, I need Zac Efron? So we're rolling with it, you know. I'm a little nervous, a little scared. We go into the movie theaters. I don't know if we like grab popcorn or anything like that. Honestly, I'm blacking out a little bit. But we go to sit down, and Janice and her boyfriend, like the way the movie theater set up, so we're sitting in the back, the screen's right here. So there was like a wall, and I sat against the wall thinking that Janice and her boyfriend would sit over here with this other guy. We'll call
Classic move.
Yeah, we'll call him, what will we call him?
Derek.
We'll call him Derek. So Derek's sitting beside me. Well, Janice and her boyfriend decide they're going to sit in front of us on the other side of the other aisle because the aisle came up the middle. And there was like a wall here, but seats in front of it. And that's where she sat. So I'm like, bitch, you're leaving me hanging back here with this man that I don't even think I said like anything to. So the movie starts. I can't tell you what movie we saw.
Why is that, Brittany? Was it because you were focused on other things?
No. He like totally gave me the vibe. I like instantly was like, I don't know if he said something, but I was like, and also this was like the thumbs up again. Oh, fireworks! I saw fireworks.
Wow.
Okay, for those of you who are listening, the thumbs up came up on the screen again, and also fireworks. So,
oh goodness.
So I just really had an feeling from him. So anyways, I'm like, thanks, Janice. And I don't even know. I think I was like texting her, like, are you coming back? But of course, back then in the movie theater, no service. So I'm sitting there and the movie's starting. And I'm telling you, if like this is my head over here, every 5 seconds he would go,
ugh, that is the worst. Just turn it.
And then back at the screen, and I can feel him. Like, the heat is real. And it's the wall, me and him. And Janice is over here probably making out,
whatever she wants to do with Derek.
giving handies in the movie theater, probs. I'm over here fighting for my life, and this guy is just like every 5 seconds for an hour and a half, just hoping I lock eyes with him and we just start making out, I'm sure. So then I was like getting fidgety, and then I would take my zipper and go like this. I remember I was wearing like a teal Hollister sweatshirt with the zipper, and then it made like the zip sound. Yeah, it made the zip sound, and every time like I made a new sound, he'd look over. I'm like, stop fucking moving, Brittany. I'm like, do not like direct him over here. Like, do not distract him. Like, let's just watch the movie. Like, I think he might have even like said something, and I'd be like, yeah, and just like keep watching the movie. Dude, it was so bad. Then Janice...
You were paralyzed from the waist down.
Literally. Then Janice's mom comes to pick us up, and we're waiting for her. So we actually... Funny that you had mentioned Stop and Shop, because it was that plaza.
Plaza, yeah.
We were walking around Stop and Shop, and you remember those like blue and white gummy sharks that you could get like 2 for $1, like the package? Yes. He like went and got them. And he was like, he like opened them in the store, which I'm like, oh my God, he's stealing. Like, oh my God, that's so bad.
Such a badass. He's such a badass.
No.
He's opening stuff before he buys it.
He's taking the shark and going like this to me, saying, here, let me feed you. And I'm like running from this man. Janice's mom pulls up. I get in the car. Janice is making out still. I'm like, oh my God. Derek opens the car door as I'm like ready to tell Janice's mom the tea. And he's like, can I have a hug? And I was like, what am I supposed to do?
You cannot, sir.
I was like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, it's just a hug. I get out. I hug him. He pulls away, looks at me. You want to know what he says? Something more?
Oh my gosh. Sounds like he's been reading too many of those thriller or romance novels.
Oh my God, no, it was terrible. So then I'm like,
something more, my life. I would like my life back. Thank you. Here's something more, my life.
Literally hopped in the car, slammed the door. His mom's like, so how'd that go? I'm like, I was like,
you also just said the person's name.
You'll have to bleep that out. You'll have to bleep it out. You'll have to bleep it out.
Say it again. So you said to Janice's mom.
So I after he hugs me and says something more, I immediately get in the car and slam the door. And Janice's mom is like, so how'd that go? And I'm like, So anyways, I tell the whole story the whole way back, and she's like, oh my God. And so I went camping with Janice. I mean, I hung out with Janice so much. And we were actually camping with her family. What?
I said love Janice.
Yes, love Janice.
I've actually camped with Janice's family too.
Yeah, that's why we go camping there now. So that was just like the running joke, right? Saying something more. So it had been like a little bit, and we're camping, and Janice's mom was like making sandwiches for everyone. She's like, oh, like, do you want mayonnaise or mustard? And I was like, you don't have to make me a sandwich. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm making everyone's. And I was like, sure, mayonnaise, always. Like, duh. And then she like looks at me and she's like, something more? And I'm like, no!
Oh my gosh, she just went right back around, full circle.
Nothing more, ma'am. Nothing more. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. You know what I love about that story? It had me on the edge of my seat. I was thinking about what was coming next. It was thrilling. It was thrilling, really. And it also brought me back to the days when you're so young and the first date is the movies. That was always the thing to do. And I still remember those feelings you used to get when you would be so nervous to like just touch their hand or reach over and look at them or whatever. So funny that you talked about a situation like this, because it's so true. When you were younger, that was the only thing, especially for the listeners and the viewers here, where Brittany and I grew up, that really was the only thing to do. It felt like it was either that or like galactic bowling.
Right, exactly.
So it's just so funny that you're bringing that up. The nostalgia for me is so real right now. I totally feel for that.
Yeah. So that's my little something more
Oh,
dating story.
wow. So here you go, folks. If you ever see Brittany in real life on the street, always ask her if she wants something more.
I'll have something more from anybody else.
Yeah, and that's what I would have. Isn't it funny when you look back on things as an adult too? You say to yourself, like I just said, I would have said, My life. That's what I want. Anything more? Yes, my life.
The
I would
past
like
three
to never
hours.
see you again. Yeah, I would like to never see you again
Yeah.
and lose my number. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, literally. Like,
If we even had, did you even have a cell phone then? Probably not. It was probably
no.
like lose my house number so you don't call me ever again.
No, I definitely had like my own track phone from babysitting. I
Dead.
definitely had my own track phone.
Track phones, folks. Do we remember track phones?
Yeah.
Dead.
I bought my
Now,
units or my
track
minutes.
phone is what they use in crime movies when people want a burner. They just get a track phone.
Oh yeah, I was out talking to Derek on a burner phone.
I am dead. That honestly was a perfect story. That oh, Brittany, I cannot even believe that.
Awful.
And even better, full circle when the mom just continued, Nancy, she just continued to tell you something more.
Yeah. Yeah, it
That's
was
the
great.
best.
It was great, Sean. Thank you. All right, moving on to your next story.
Oh, geez, I'm telling my second one. Oh boy. All right, so the second one. This one's actually a little like chilling. Ooh, a little spooky, scary for people. So I met this guy in high school. Again, wasn't out, but was very friendly to him. I am very much I know we talked about in previous episodes I'm a reader. I read people right away, but I also am guilty of I just feel bad sometimes for people. If not a lot of people are talking to them or a lot of people are making fun of them, especially in high school. I was treated like such crap in high school. We'll get to that on another episode. But anyway, he was treated so badly. So I always had conversations with him because I just felt bad for him. And there were a couple times where we ended up hanging out after school. The first time felt fine, everything was fine. The second time kind of took a little bit of a turn. I think he was looking for something more, and at the time I was just not about that. And I was also just trying to be nice to the guy. I wasn't trying to be in a relationship with him. I really was just trying to be his friend or be someone there for him in a time of need. I kid you not, that is all I ever did was chat with him a few times in the hallway, go over his house a couple times in high school. That was it. Okay, fast forward, maybe 2 years later, I find out through the grapevine that, someone was like, well, he's gay. And I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, I knew that because he was, whatever, trying to do things with me. And that was how I found out. So get that little tidbit of news and I'm like, okay, like that's
Wait, that's
yeah.
how you found out you were gay or how you found out he was gay?
No, like I had already known he was gay. This person told me like 2 or 3 years later when I saw them, they were like, oh, did you know this person was gay? So I am just like, oh no, I didn't, blah, blah, blah. Tried to play it off. But then the second part of the story, they said, yeah, do you know what happened to him? I said, no. Oh, you didn't see anything on the news. And at this point, I had graduated high school, I was in college, and I wasn't paying attention to anything going on at home. And the friend says, yeah, he's now in jail. And I'm like, okay. And they said, yeah, he's in jail for okay, and I'm not gonna whatever. This is the way that I remember it. He burned his grandparents' house down with both of them inside. His grandparents were the two that raised him. Okay? So immediately I'm like, okay, this is interesting, like some red flags. I knew he was a little different, he was a little strange, whatever. But I didn't think this would happen. Even creepier, this person said that they saw him at a party 2 weeks prior to all of this happening. And they said that he was asking about me.
Oh, no.
After 3 years, and asked what I was doing, what I was up to, and if I would go and visit him. How weird. And then literally 2 weeks later, that whole thing came out, and whatever. Like, he's, I would assume, is still in prison for doing that. But wicked weird, like, was literally in the newspaper and everything. And I know you're giving me that look, Brittany, like, after this we need to talk about who it is. And I cannot for the life of me, I think I only remember his first name. So maybe we'll have to, like, deep dive into that later.
Yeah.
Or, like, try to figure out his last name. But I guess it's not really like a date, but it's kind of cringeworthy of someone assuming that we were on a date way back then, and then 3 or 4 years later asked about me 2 weeks before, like, that horrible thing happened. So super, super cringe, like, sent chills down my spine. Crazy, 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 crazy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that was another. Gays are crazy, yo. Some of us.
Oh, it's not just gay people.
Can do some crazy stuff out here.
We all can get LO cray cray, okay?
So that's my tragic little love story. Let's order.
Well, we have an order up. We have, I'm going to be reading off my phone. I apologize.
Oh, we got some fresh tea?
Yes, we got some tea from the email. So I'll go ahead and read this little number. They're going to remain anonymous.
Okay, and this is someone's dating, like, cringeworthy dating experience?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Well, I'll read the whole thing. So she said, "Hi, besties. Britt and Sean, your podcast is great, and I laugh along the whole time. Keep the episodes coming. As for my wonderful dating life, I'd love to share a story." Let's
lay it on me.
Let's spill it. So, this story takes place in 2020, just post-COVID. I, at the time, 30 female, met Z is his name, 31 male, on Bumble. We went on a few really great dates where he was so polite and seemed so put together. He told me, and his LinkedIn showed, he was in IT and some kind of tech sales. He told me about his family and how close they were. His dad, who passed away, was a professional football player for the Philadelphia Eagles back in the early 90s. He told me he owned a beach condo, but due to COVID shutdowns, he temporarily was staying with his mom at her condo to help take care of his elderly grandmother because they thought it was safer to remove her from the nursing home. He traveled a lot out to California for work, where he met with clients and always sent pictures of himself there. Everything seemed so legit the first couple weeks. Then, after not hearing from him for 2 days, I received a call from a Louisiana jail where Z was being held. Turns out, the only thing true about him was his name and that he lived with his mom. He was actually a drug mule and would fly to California to pick up the drugs and drive them back to Florida to be sold. He got pulled over in Louisiana with a SUV full of drugs and was arrested. This man hardly apologized for lying and then asked me to put my house up for collateral to bail him out. I obviously said no and promptly blocked his number and cut off all communication. The best part of the whole story is over a year later, this man messages me on Facebook out of the blue at 9 a.m. on a Monday telling me he dodged a bullet with me and he was so glad he ended things. He went on to say he was at his beach condo with friends laughing about me. I guess he didn't stop the drugs and forgot I knew he didn't actually have a beach condo.
And props to you, girl, for him still thinking about you a year later to text you something like that.
Right?
Wow, besties. That was a thriller. I cannot believe that. That's insane.
What's with these men in jail?
What is with, honestly, people? Why are I just? I mean, I guess in that man's situation, he was selling drugs, so I guess I can see it. But why are we just lying about who we are, folks? Like, let's just be
Well, he
real.
had to, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, because of that situation. But oh my goodness, it's so funny. It's like some of these situations feel like they are straight out of a movie. They should not happen to you, and then when it happens to you, you literally are like, wow, this is an insane, impossible situation, and it just happened to me.
But LOL, on a Monday morning at 9 a.m., he's like, oh, and by the way, thank God I broke up with you, even though you broke up with me. And I
Right.
totally dodged a bullet. Like, you're still in jail? No.
So glad you didn't put your house on the market as collateral for me. Thank you. Like,
Yeah,
you
like, what?
really dodged a bullet. Oh my goodness.
And but the thing is, right? So there are girls that will be like, no, like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, like, I blah, blah, blah. And then, like, they think that's how they reel them back in.
Yeah, yeah.
Woof.
Or it's like these crazy, like, princes, like Arabian princes that are like, emailing all these people, I need money or whatever. They build this relationship and they're like, I need money. It's like, no, no,
Wait,
no.
what? I just sent Ishmael $750.
Well, you have been duped.
Damn it. I thought he was coming for me. I was going to be the princess of Genovia.
Gosh, I cannot believe that. That is literally insane.
Yeah, people are wild.
Be careful out there, besties. Anyone who's still in the dating world, be careful out there.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing. That was a big group share.
That sure was. We learned a lot about one another and about this mystery person.
Z. His name is Z.
Z, perfect. And the person writing in. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Ooh, all right, besties. We've now made it to the portion of the show where we work on the special relationship with words. And today is Sean's turn to decode a word. So here we go, folks. Are you ready for this? Sean's
I'm ready.
word of the week. It's Shawnee's turn, and I swear to God, if you get this and nail it, I'm just throwing in the towel. We're picking up a new segment. Okay, so the spelling of this word for those who are just listening and not watching, it is DEFENESTRATION. Shawnee, can you read that? Here, I'll get up.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, goodness, girl. Go back a little bit more. Yes. Defenestration?
Use it in a sentence.
Defenestration? I have never even seen that word in my life. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Defenestration?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's spelled how it sounds. Defenestration. Yep.
Okay, defenestration.
Yep.
Could not tell you how to use that in a sentence.
Just try. Take a stab at it.
I cannot believe the amount of defenestration you have provided this group of people.
Dead. Okay. So,
oh my goodness.
Defenestration. The act of throwing someone out of a window. Let me use it in a sentence.
Oh my goodness.
When Jeffrey wouldn't stop snoring, defenestration became less of a vocabulary word and more of a solid plan.
Perfect. So if you're ever annoyed with your spouse or your significant other, folks, just remember defenestration, okay? Just take defenestration into your own hands and just do it.
Ta-ta for now.
Oh my gosh, the English language, hey, is so crazy.
Yeah. Well,
oh my goodness.
Glad I could stump ya.
Goodness. Yes, you certainly did stump me. I cannot even believe that. All right. Well, I know we have some sort of... What's our topic next week, Brett? What are we talking about?
Tune in for next week when we talk about texts gone wrong. Be sure to send in your stories, please, please, please. You can either send them on our Instagram at Besties and Banter, or you can send them to our Gmail, which is Besties and Banter. Besties, spelling it as if you were just sipping tea. So send in your stories about texts gone wrong. It can be literally about anything. Let's spill the tea and just giggle.
Yeah, and listeners, I got a story for you already next week that I literally just did the other day and had too many fat fingers, was typing too quick, and I'm guilty of it with speech to text too. So tune in next week because that's going to be a real nail biter. All right, besties, that's a wrap. We have wrapped up the podcast this week highlighting awkward first dates and cringeworthy dating stories. We hope you enjoyed these hilarious tales and found a little bit of comfort, at least, in knowing that you're not alone in the dating mishaps department. You've heard from myself and Brittany. You've heard from other listeners. Remember, every awkward moment is just a stepping stone to finding the fun in every single situation, because it's important to do that, folks.
So, besties, as always, if you love the pod, make sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe to Besties and Banter. Don't leave us hanging. Hit that subscribe button so you can sip with us on every episode. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep the banter rolling. So go ahead, share the love with your crew, because what's better than a few more besties in the mix? As always, in Besties we trust. Until next time, when we give you something more.
Bye!